Hello and welcome to ThePapare.com, and we are very privileged to have with us here at this wonderful Zahira College school celebrating its 100 years of rugby, a 101 Test cap Wallaby, a World Cup winner, the player of the tournament in 1991, a rugby icon, and of course someone that a lot of us grew up watching. He needs no further introduction. Mr. David Campese joins us here on ThePapare alongside the manager and the head honcho of this Zahira centenary celebrations, Mr. Sabir Carter. David Campese, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here.
My first question actually is going to be, Sabir, how did you pull off this coup of bringing this gentleman to Sri Lanka?
Oh, Shanaka, firstly, thanks my partner in crime. It's been so nice to have you here at Zahira. I know Camper for the last 4 years and he came on one of my Asia Rugby podcasts and since that I made a promise one day you're going to come to Sri Lanka. But I've been waiting for the right time, but with the patience, you know, it's the right place at the right time, the right person at the right time to celebrate our 100 years. So he accepted my invitation and he is.
David, I know Sabir can be persistent.
Yeah.
That's what scrum halves
well,
are like.
that's not really the word, but yeah, he's a small halfback, yeah.
But
we call it a pain in the backside, so yeah.
Was Nick Farr Jones wasn't small though.
No, but he wasn't the pain. He was our captain.
But how has your experience of the last few hours, well not few days been? Did you expect anything like this reception coming here? The amount of rugby culture that Sri Lanka has and of course that Zahira has, did you expect it at all?
No, I actually didn't really know what to expect. But, you know, again, I played against Sri Lanka in the Hong Kong Sevens in 83, 84, 85 and I still had the tie, which I wore last night. That was given to me from someone from Sri Lanka. So, you know, I mean, I've been very fortunate in my life. I think I've visited 47 countries playing rugby. So this is just another country I went to. But again, it's obviously, it's great when you want to try and come and sort of add some value, some knowledge, and, you know, and rugby. And I think Asia has got a massive opportunity in world rugby. And it was very sad what we were talking about before where Peugeot was, you know, kicked out because I know that he wanted to get a lot more action from the Asia countries. So when I came, it was amazing, the friendliness. My wife's just been to India last year with my daughter, and she said the people are so nice. And I said, well, it's the same here. You know, wherever you go, people are very happy to see you. Someone says, oh, look, I remember I used to watch you as a kid and all that, and I'm quite surprised. But yeah, it's, you know, rugby is a very unique sport, and you can go everywhere in the world and you're going to find friends, and they all love rugby.
And you've been brought down here with a specific intent of doing some community coaching, bringing more people into the game, sharing your knowledge with people at grassroots levels. How was your first session today? What did you take out of it and what did you put into it? Yeah,
look, I love coaching. You know, I was fortunate to coach Singapore in '98, the Natal Sharks in 2005 or 2008, I think it was. Done a lot of stints everywhere around the world. And I think what I want to do is I want to try and coach. I want to try and get in with the Wallabies. You know, we just hired a new coach. I spoke to Phil Waugh many times after the Rugby World Cup, saying, you know, what we need to do in Australia, we need winners to coach because winners know how to win. And I said, you know, for the next 12 months, don't get a coach. You know, give me the backs job. Get Laurie Fisher if he's available. Get a couple of Aussies around so we can play Aussie rugby. We haven't played Aussie rugby for years. And I don't know what sort of rugby we play. So because we've had so many different coaches, and I've offered, and as you can see, I get invited to another country and I pass on my knowledge to another country, but not my own country. So it's very sad that way. Obviously, the tall poppy syndrome in Australia is a problem. You're outspoken in these days and times. So it is very, very frustrating. But for me, it's about giving knowledge to the coaches that they probably from another country, and it's not about running the ball from the dressing room, it's about basics, and that's what I've always gone about. If you can't do the basics, you can't do the flair. So this morning it was about 3 hours of coaching. We did some very simple things, and after one of the sessions I said, guys, did you hear that? We said, what do you mean? I said, you're actually enjoying it, you're laughing. We are in the entertainment industry, and that's where rugby's got to realise. You know, I went to the World Cup last year, and even though the games were close, there was a lot of kicking. People don't want to see the 5-minute scrum. in 1991, the scrum in the World Cup took 11 seconds. 11 seconds, now it's 3 minutes. So that sort of timing, you know, the sevens. I've been to Hong Kong sevens 12 times playing. Sevens is about me v you. It's not about me running into you. It's about seeing how I can beat you, you can beat me. And now it's the same. It's like watching 15s. They're so structured. They kick the ball out for the line out, you know. And you sit there and go, why are you doing that? It's supposed to be about flair, me, you know, trying to show how good you are. And so an opportunity to come, it gives some experience. Hopefully that they'll understand that you've got to allow kids to try different things. Don't try and put them, say you can't do this, you can't do that. And that's the way I play, and I still believe we can do that. But you've got to get the grassroots to do it. You can't start the top down, you've got to go from the bottom up.
One thing we've noticed in Sri Lanka, in Colombo specifically, David, is that a lot of players, especially the more affluent parents, would like their kids to specialize in maybe tennis or swimming or something like that. But you said you didn't even start playing rugby until you won your first golf tournament.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about specialization too early? What do you advise?
Look, I think it's great to play every sport possible. I reckon that's the best thing to do. It's no good just sticking to one sport. If you're a swimmer, geez, I'd tell you it'd be boring after 10 years, wouldn't it? Just in one line. Or tennis. And the problem is if you play those sports all the time, you're going to get tennis elbow, you're going to have a problem injury-wise. So the more sports you play, the more motions you do, your body and muscles get used to different actions, so you don't get injured. I never really got injured. But I was playing all the different sports. So I think, look, let them play tennis if they want. If they want to go and play football, let them play. If they want to play rugby, play. You know. But what we need to do is, for the understand, is rugby is an opportunity to go and travel the world, live overseas, understand the world. That's what rugby's about. It's not about just playing. It's about the friends. All my best friends are in France, England, New Zealand, South Africa. That's where my friends are. You know. But I come from Queanbeyan, of a town of 21,000 people. I went to a government school, didn't finish school. So where I am now is quite, if you have a look at my history, it's very, not sad, but it's interesting that I could go from where I come from to where I am now by playing sport.
Yeah, it really is a wonderful story. We'll get more into it as soon as we have a little break, and in the break we'll have some Diamond full cream milk.
Your father also drank diamond milk when he was little.
Diamond milk has been nourishing the nation for generations with milk produced by 100% grass-fed cows from New Zealand. Diamond milk, your trusted nourishment.
Welcome back to our chat here with rugby legend David Campese, here of course for the Zahira centenary celebrations. Alongside him our good mate Sabir Kada as well. David, we were talking before the break about specialization, about kids getting into sport. It's been a bit of a rough road in Australia as well, getting kids into rugby union.
Yeah, big problem.
Do you find that parents are, maybe the high density or the high resolution slow motions are making more parents shy away from the game? What do you feel?
I think what's happened now with the concussion, you know, there's a big thing happening in England and America with head concussion. But you know, Australia's very unique. We've got 4 football codes. We've got rugby league, Aussie rules, football and rugby. And we've got cricket, which is pretty good as well. So there's options. And if you don't entertain, people go somewhere else. And that's our problem. And the World Cup was a great example from Australian thing. It was very sad. My son was over there on a school trip with the rugby team, and he was devastated when he went to watch Australia versus Fiji and Australia versus Wales. They went to the 2 games we lost. So for them to, that's all they're going to remember, the Wallabies.
Yeah.
And I think that we've had a lot of problems, and most of the problems start off the field. It's not on the field. And we've just been through, like, Eddie's gone. He brought 12 coaches in, they're all gone. The chairman's gone. But on the way out, they caused a lot of trouble. And, you know, we are capable of winning World Cups. We were the first country to win 2 World Cups. But what's happened since? You know, you've got to find out why are we in this position? You know, we are one of the best teams in the world, but we we can't make the quarterfinals of a Rugby World Cup now. So again, we've got to go to the grassroots, which I've done in Australia. I've got right around Australia coaching. The kids don't even know who I am. They don't know our culture and history. And such a great school where we are here now, there's history and culture.
Yeah.
You've got to continue that history and culture. Diamond sponsor. They were successful. So when you go and join a company, you've got to understand why they're successful.
Yeah.
And you've got to carry that on. If you don't carry that on, you've got nothing. And that's what the problem in Australia. We haven't got our culture and history. This next month, we've got to have our 40th anniversary of the Grand Slam.
Wow. 1984.
Rugby Australia do nothing for us. Don't even that. We do it ourselves.
If I remember right, it's only New Zealand in 2005 that did it after you guys.
I think, but we're the only Australian team that's ever done it. So it's not about the Kiwis and South Africans. We're the only team in Australia that's done it.
Wow.
So they're going to try and do it again this year, but no one's got any idea. The World Cup 91, no one celebrates that. And that's why we are where we are, because they've actually forgotten about who we are. And that's very sad.
Speaking about culture, Sabir, Zahira, when I was going to school, was known as a football school. We'd hate to play Zahira at football, but we'd love to play them at rugby. When did that change? When did that culture start coming into the sport, and now you're a proper A division legitimate team? How did that happen, and how is it going?
I think since we were in B division, a great mention should go to our G60, who got in together and set up a plan, because you know that school rugby is massive. That's where most of the leaders were built. So G60, I should give a special mention. They put a strategy and they get everyone together. So now we are in Division 1, A Division. So it's time for us to be sustained in this group. So now everyone is aware, and they all know that rugby, in terms of Sri Lankan school, it gives a next step for your child to go to the next level. So regardless of the results, you can go out to the community, you can go out to the society and make good leaders. So through this sport, they understand that, and you can see the numbers of parents comes for Zahira Rugby now. It was when we were playing, literally there's 2 or 3 parents who's watching in 2005, 2010 era. So now it's changed. So kudos to the management. I should mention special mention to our chairman, Fawzul Hamid, came up with a clear vision, and also the board of governors support in that. So strategy is set, Shanaka. Just to emphasize a bit more onto that, so to celebrate our centenary, we went and we got the global partnership with the Leicester Tigers. So that is a historical event. So you mentioned about the culture. We come as a Muslim culture, but first we were Sri Lankans before we become Muslims. So I was thinking, under impression, when we go to Leicester, what would happen. I was a bit nervous, but no. When I went there, no. You know that most of our culture doesn't take alcohol, doesn't consume alcohol. So, but when we went there for our partnership, they served non-alcoholic drinks. It was so nice to see and learn from them. So I think that's what we didn't expect that, but that's all comes from this rugby, this one global sport that we speak.
Yeah, and David, you were saying before that out of your 101 tests, that your parents would have come for just a handful of them.
Yeah.
And there was no pressure on you as a kid growing up to maybe conform or to succeed or to have these markers of success. How do you feel that has evolved over time?
Yeah, look, I think now it's, if you go in sport now, you see a lot more parents taking their kids' bags, you know, and there's a story of I'm trying to think which Hampshire or something in England, where there's a
Northampton.
Yes, a cricket academy every year. And the main guy, as they all arrive, he stands up the top and watches. As soon as he sees one of the parents bringing the kids back, he goes down there and says, "Sorry, you're not welcome."
Wow. Okay.
Which is because if your mum's carrying your bag and you're a sportsman, you go, okay, what's going to happen when the pressure's on, sort of thing. Look, I tell my kids, if you play sport, you got 5 bags, carry them yourself. I had to. You know, just because it's 2024 doesn't mean he's got to take responsibility. So yeah, look, I think that parents are trying to, they see the opportunities in sport as well now. You look at cricket now, you don't have to play test cricket, you can play T20. You can go anywhere in the world and play T20. So there's other avenues. And I think that society has changed a lot as well. And I think that there's a lot of different things that have changed. And I just think that sport is there. And Australia were, I thought, in the 80s and 90s, we were the best when everyone was playing sport. There was never any troubles.
Yeah.
Now, the phone's here, the sport's not as popular, and we're not winning as much. And it just takes you, because we've taken our eye off the ball, of course, instead of actually going back to the grassroots and say, this is where the foundation, this is what we've got to rebuild. You know, and if you don't rebuild there, you're going to lose your sport.
I had an interesting chat the other day with Priyantha Ekanayak and Inti Marika, two of Sri Lankan legends. We had a chat with Campo, and I was not aware until Priyantha say Australia or the Wallabies used to be used to score loads of tries in their first phase with the set piece and with the lineouts and scrums. So if you look at the last World Cup, it clearly shows it's not the rugby that they're playing. So again, you're mentioning about the culture and Aussie to be coached by Aussie. Do you think in that sense, Campo coming another Kiwi can do well in terms of Wallabies?
That's what I said. As I said to Phil Waugh, I said, why don't you just let a couple of Australians coach for the year? Don't panic, you've got a year to, because there's no coaches around. And the problem is, it's a bit like football. You get sacked, you go in the pool circle, you get another job. But the problem is, you've obviously performed badly, and someone else gets you, and what does he do? He performs badly. So it's a vicious circle. Like Smith was at Ireland for 5 years. I don't know much about him. I think he helped New Zealand in the World Cup. They didn't win the World Cup final. South Africa won. So why do we always get not winners? Why can't we get a winning coach? Why do we have to get someone second or third? And as I said, we're Australians. We can. I know what it's like to win. You know.
Who would you pick if you were in charge?
Well,
of
at the moment, there's no one. I wouldn't pick anyone. I'd pick us. I'd go. Pick some us. Let us coach. So these kids understand. They've got no idea about who we are. You know, last year they played. Was it last year? Or the year before? They played at Twickenham, and I was at Twickenham, and I said it was a week after the World Cup 30 years ago, and I said I hope the Wallabies understand what this means to Australian rugby. And they got beat by England. They don't understand. You know, there's history there. History's there for a reason, and that really frustrates me. You know, I'm very passionate, even though I don't play. But I sit there and watch the game. And I say, what are we doing? Why do we kick the ball away in the 22? To me, it shows we've got no idea. We never used to kick the ball. Bob the way, so you kick the ball away, you're gone. You're out of the team. That's where we had to start creating, and that's where we can do different things. We had the players to do it. Now, they're all individuals, and it's really sad.
When did you start creating, David? Was it just walking around with the ball on your own, or was it in grade school? Where did you really start?
No, it was just playing. I used to play obviously in the streets. I lived 100 metres from a golf course. I was playing golf as well. I was playing cricket, played Aussie rules, and then just in 19 played rugby league. I played rugby league, all different positions. So in 16, when we lost, I went to 1979 with the fourth grade. I played fullback, and best year of my life. I had all the 35-year-olds. The scrum would kick the ball. The forwards would say, "No, right, the young kid will bring the ball to us." They had a great. And we won the premiership that year after. I went to first grade, and then 2 years under 21s in the Wallabies. So I was very straight in there, not knowing what I was doing. So I was pretty naive, and I think that really helped. You know, so I just sat back, watched and learned.
And you played with some of the greats, the Ella brothers and people like that. And then in 1995, when you went to your third World Cup, you were the oldest player in that squad. How had your role changed from the start to then? Because you also produced, sorry to stop you, but you also produced guys like Bernie Larkham, Matt Burke, Joe Roff, all these guys were under you. So how did that work?
Yeah, look, it was hard because as a young kid, you sit there and listen and learn. Then 96, I think it was, my last tour, we were playing Wales and something happened, and you can see I was talking to players. So your roles change as a young kid listening and learning to an old man passing on the knowledge. And that's just because of being in the team. We were very successful, and you know, you don't want to be a role model, but you don't have to be a captain to be a role model. You know, and I think that you just get part of it. And I remember in it was 96, I was playing for New South Wales my last year, and I got dropped for New South Wales, and the coach said, we're going to rotate you today. So you're dropping me? No, we're going to rotate you. It's a new word for drop. Anyway, so I walked out of there. I was really annoyed. In Cape Town. So I said, what do? I can either go training, come last, or suck it up and show the guys, doesn't matter, and I still train. I came first. So I did first in everything I did that day to show them, just because I was dropped, that's not the end of it, keep on going. And my attitude's always been professional. I've always wanted to be the best. I've always done things that made me different. And people don't realise what you do off the field. They see the 80 minutes. That's all they see. They don't see the work that goes behind it. And the sacrifices, but again, it's part of life. I'm sure you speak to other sportsmen, they're very similar. But I wanted to go to the edge. And if you think about life, in life there's like a tightrope there. People go up to the tightrope, they're comfortable. They don't want to go above it. I used to try and go above. And you get knocked out. But that's where I wanted to play.
Right.
And that's what made us probably different, because the risks you take. But again, the risks are there because I had the skills, the speed, and the confidence to do that. And you look at the World Cup 91, that pass to Tim Horan. I said, how did you? I said, well, I saw him, I heard him coming, I just passed it. So it was all easy, but it looks hard.
Yeah.
But because we knew each other, the combinations, and we played together, that's what I mean. That's what sport's about. It's about no individual, it's about a team.
Yeah. And it's nice to hear you say that, Campo, because one of the main criticisms of your career was that, he was a flash man and he was not a team player.
Well, I was a winger.
Yeah.
People said, but I'm a winger, I was the last person to get the ball. But what people don't understand, and this is very interesting, like I played fullback winger. So 1984 Grand Slam, we won. I went to Italy to play for 10 years, 6 months there, 6 months across. And played my first 2 games in Italy, got absolutely smashed. The Italian said, you're the star, off you go. And I got copped it. And then my coach is still a very good friend of mine. We had lunch, he said, how would you like to play number 10? So now I'm playing number 10 against Michael Liner, Joel Stransky, Nas Boyka, Frano Bodica. The best number 10s I'm playing against. I'm a winger fullback. So all of a sudden my knowledge of the game grew. I knew exactly where to look, who's looking there. And in 92 we went back to South Africa for the first test. And in this game you can actually see there was a scrum and halfway and Nas was playing 10. So I just sort of hung around the scrum. And normally what happens, the number 10 looks around, the last place he looks is where he's going to kick. Because you can't do it when the ball goes into scrum. So I was watching him and I saw him look behind me. So as the ball went in, I walked back and you can see him go, oh. So he had to do a really crap kick.
Yeah.
That's all you need, just to, and that's what I mean. I knew the game. I knew what was happening, where to run. I knew forwards are there, what to do. It's just the knowledge, but I knew the knowledge. And that really helped from playing. Then going to Test rugby, I knew exactly what 10 were doing. So.
Yeah, that seems like a good place to leave it. We'll talk to David Campese for years if we could have our way, but he's got other commitments, and perhaps we can leave the young players with that one thing: get the knowledge, and to get the knowledge, work hard. Campo, last words for Zahira?
Yeah, look, I think it's a great opportunity. Centenary is an amazing thing, and as a player, to get 100 tests, you don't aim for that. It happens, but it's hard work, and I'm sure the college here understands 100 years is a long time, and they're going to be probably here for another 100 years. So the young kids have got to understand how significant it is and how important it is for the school, the old players and the new players. There's a lot of pride. You've got to take pride and be very proud and just take the knowledge and just have fun.
Sabir, thanks again on behalf of all of us.
Thank you, Shanaka. Thanks to ThePapare.com. And one thing, I was today's session in the morning with all those around 80-90 coaches, whilst Campo talking to the players, and they're all very quiet, listening. They don't have any question. And I realized why. Now I realize when he when you two keep talking for the conversation, I keep like more listening. I had so many things to ask, but due to the time limit, I don't want to. But it's an absolute honor to have you here for the Zahira College. Thanks for accepting our invitation, Campo, and Shanaka, thanks for
your hard work, mate. I appreciate it.
And I should also thanks to Diamond Milk Powder for coming on board, especially for the Campo's tour. And we did the Campo's coaching masterclass as well. So there's a couple of sessions being planned. I hope everything will go well. And this is not for Zahira, this is for Sri Lanka.
Great, fantastic. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you at the Zahira Sevens.